Is happiness not also a condition, by Krishna's mercy? Aho devarshir dhanyoyam yat kirtim sharang dhanvan gayan madyan nidam tantrya ramayatya turam jagat. Quote, all glory and success to Shrila Narada Muni because he glorifies the activities of the personality of Godhead, and so doing he himself takes pleasure, and also enlivens all the distressed souls of the universe. Shrimad Bhagavatam 1:638.
Can we further discuss this concept of fake or illusory happiness? I came across that teaching recently while skimming the pages of Vishnu Purana. Prahlada Maharaj makes an eye-opening case to his classmates in the Gurukula during the reign of the Daitya leader named Hiranyakashipu. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada makes a similar argument that even if we think we are happy, we are only kidding ourselves. The justification for the argument is reasonable. The knowers of the truth say that the happiness with which we are familiar is based on conditions. For instance, if we are suffering through terror, the elimination of the threat results in happiness. We feel great in the aftermath. But is that really something to be thankful for? Would it not have been better to never face the threat to begin with? The same concept applies to practically every situation in the grand tapestry that is the complete life experience. We celebrate graduation from primary education, but why did we have to suffer so much in the classroom? We take joy in two people getting married, but there will also be misery in the future. I am thrilled to land a new job which pays a higher salary, but why was I stuck at the previous place for so long? The logic makes sense to me. I understand how an intelligent person sees this happiness as inferior, falling under duality. The question I have is about happiness itself. Is that not also a condition? Is that not also based on a paired opposite, which is called distress? Are we not advised to tolerate happiness and distress in the manner of the changing of seasons? Matra sparshas tu konteya, shitoshna sukh dukhda, agama payino nityas, tans titikshasva bharat. Quote, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Lord Krishna, Bhagavad-gita 2:14.
To begin, we acknowledge the validity to the categorization which applies to material living itself, that living begins at birth and ends at death, except the cycle can repeat, for as long as the cosmic manifestation remains. Beyond and into the next cycle, after the passage of an entire kalpa, there is the potential to be caught up in the same sequence. Bhut gramha sa evayam, bhutva bhutva praliyate, ratrya agame vashah parth, prabhavatya ahar agame. Quote, again and again the day comes, and this host of beings is active, and again the night falls, O Partha, and they are helplessly dissolved. Lord Krishna, Bhagavad-gita 8:19. If there is a pest infestation in the home and we call a professional service to run an inspection, their work does not end with the final report. They point out the various vulnerabilities, the places in which we might have trouble with varieties of pests. They will also provide a solution. In other words, there is a way out of the misery. If we consider the temporary nature of happiness and distress, how they are based on conditions, to be a pest, then someone like Prahlada Maharaj is informing us for our benefit. It is not simply to criticize or to put someone down. There is a solution. There is a kind of living that is not based on conditions. The happiness in that case is not a condition. It is the constitutional way. It is impossible to describe since our only points of reference, based on the current hard drive of memory, relates to conditions. The Sanskrit word ananda may better describe the condition of bliss in the state of liberation, but one has to experience it to believe it. One way to know that there is ananda not tied to conditions is to study behavior, to see how a person responds to various situations. We have the case of Narada Muni, who is known as a traveling preacher. He constantly glorifies the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never impacted by duality. This is one of the distinctions in comparison. We are blissful by nature, in our constitutional position, but we have vulnerability to delusion, whereas God, the person, is never vulnerable. Narada Muni has the blessing to constantly glorify, no matter the time or the circumstance. This activity is itself blissful. There is also variety within the transcendental life experience of Narada. He goes from place to place. He meets different people. He counsels based on the knowledge of the receiver and also what short-term goals, objectives need to be reached. The happiness Narada experiences is not based on conditions. It is not one of the conditions in duality. This is because the service will continue. He will always get to see the Supreme Lord through his glorification. He is never separated from transcendence. Narada is living liberation. He is not trying to attain it. We can always judge the impact of illusion or the material energy by studying the aftermath. If we suffer from a temporary bout of sadness, from pain and suffering, do we continue in transcendence? Do we maintain a spiritual vision? Do we deviate from the principles we know are beneficial to the individual as spirit soul? If we are steady in our connection with Bhagavan, it means that the happiness experienced will not be a condition. It will be our very existence. In closing, if on conditions based, then even happiness erased, with paired misery coming, tossed in cycle becoming, but chance for happiness to last, like Narada through universe vast, glorifying Hari wherever to go. That joy his very being, so